Hello everyone, I'm Swaraj, a volunteer at Adore, and I wholeheartedly welcome each one of you to today's webinar on 7 building blocks to sustainability and success by Dr. Shawn M Nicholson. Adore is a global voluntary platform that aims to motivate you to identify and undertake positive activities for a better society. We are a community network of university students and professionals who interact with students so they grow up as a successful professionals and responsible citizens. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our speaker, Dr. Shawn Nicholson. Dr. Nicholson is a pastor, serial entrepreneur, community advocate, and a servant leader. As an executive with over 25 years of proven leadership management, organizational, and problem solving skills, he is recognized and sought after thought leader on faith based business development and workforce development for youth and young adults. Mr. Nicholson is community connector and an innovative and strategic leader with a passion for working in partnership with Black and Brown communities to eradicate general poverty and stimulate economic prosperity for those who have been most excluded from it. During the past 25 years, he has developed and maintained several traveling businesses, including Beautiful Temple Ministries, a community-rooted church ministry that was centered on loving people to life, Precise Business Group Ministry, a company that provides vocational training, workforce development, and staffing. Precise Business Group helped mentor and mold over 125 participants in the first year of existence. Dr. Nicholson currently serves as the managing principal of SMN Square Incorporated, a company that provides the building blocks for sustainability and success through executive coaching and leadership development. SMN Square Incorporated has developed an EED model that is very passionate and dedicated to helping individuals attain economic independence by assisting businesses, encouraging entrepreneurship, and developing ecosystem builders. Dr. Nicholson believes that God is the source of all his accomplishments, and his desire is to build a legacy that will last for generations to come. He believes that passion is simply the ability to pass I on. I welcome you, sir. We would like you to request to please enlighten us with your knowledge. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to be with each one of you. We did place into the chat, want to make sure that everyone could hear and see the screen. And I believe that it is affirmative. So thank you. I'm excited. I know that it's evening time where you are. And I am here in the morning in the U.S. So it's awesome. I love modern technology, being able to go all over the world. So this is amazing. All right. So thank you again for the invitation, and I'm excited because anytime I get an opportunity to present to young folks or young people, young aspiring professionals, I'm just excited about that. So this is very good for me to be able to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get started with everything. Just let me do a couple of housekeeping things on my end, and then I will begin. All right. So I have entitled, as you see on the screen, this webinar, Pass I On. Now, at first glance, that may read passion, and it is, but this is a word that I have kind of taken the liberty of playing with over the past 3 or 4 years. And I broke the word up because it exemplifies exactly what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, maybe 15 years. And I also own the trademark to the Pass I On. So that's a very important thing for me, because whenever anyone sees that word, you'll think of me. And so that's exciting. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to show this quick little video introduction. All right, and it says just that. I can't wait to see and to hear the great work that you're going to do coming up. So we're going to start that off with definitely a firm affirmation there. As we've already mentioned, and it has already been said and read, my bio, I'm Dr. Shawn M Nicholson. I am the founding principal, if you will, managing principal of SMN Incorporated, where we specialize in the building blocks to success and sustainability. Now, in this particular webinar, I want to reveal the 7 building blocks that have helped me reach some degree of success, and I'm sure that it would help each one of you as well. If you're dedicated to, we'll call it a hybrid course, whatever you desire in life, you can obtain it, whether it's becoming financially free, living life on your own terms, right? The awe and the respect of individuals that possibly doubted you as you were developing to become yourself. Maybe a new beginning, a fresh beginning. We're dealing with this global pandemic, and a lot of us are having to do things differently, having to reset and to pivot. This may be some of the tools that you need to be able to assist in doing that. And pretty much just about anything at all, you'll be able to obtain, I feel, by using these building blocks. Now, building blocks is just a little background. I am a 3rd generation contractor, so I'm a carpenter by trade. So I have very natural experience in building houses, building structures, building business. As my bio had stated, I'm also a church planner. So I also have experience in building people and then pulling out the best of people to be able to reach their full potential. So that's why all of this comes up to talk about sustainability and success. And I just use a pun on these words, building blocks, because of my trade. Now, with anything, with building blocks, it takes a foundation. And so in my mind, success in any event is made up of a collection, if you will, of smaller events that are built on top of each other. Success is not like a lot of people think, just luck. It's a luck of the draw. It really takes hard work. It takes perseverance. It takes research. It takes dedication in order to do that. So the way that my mind works with these building blocks, I understand that there's trial, there's error, there's life experiences, there's knowledge, there's endurance, there's drive, and ultimately there is work ethic. Okay. Now, if you notice on this screen, you see research, because for me, that's where everything begins. And I start with research because anything that I'm involved with, I just research it. I want to learn everything about it. When I started doing carpentry work, I wanted to be the best at what I did. Now, just a little side note, I believe that my father is the best. So I haven't quite got to his level, but I'm best in my own right. But this is something that I began to practice in my life, and research and learning whatever it is. If it's IT, learning everything that you need to learn about IT. If it's a nonprofit organization, being an executive director, learn everything that is necessary to become the best executive director. If it's being an entrepreneur, learn everything necessary that is there available for you to become the best at whatever it is that you do. And so from that, we began to work backwards. So now you have your research, you have the drive, you have work ethics, you have endurance, you have the knowledge, you have life experience, and then you are going to experience the trial and error, okay? And that's where these building blocks come from. Now, one should learn rather, the basics first, all right? You got to have a clear goal. Regardless of whatever that you're going to do in life, you must have a clear goal. Take small steps, and those steps work towards those goals that you set. Consistency is number one in this game. And you got to be consistent in everything that you do if you're going to see a positive return. Perseverance, it gets weary sometimes, it gets hard sometimes, but you got to keep pushing. You got to keep persevering, if you will. Then you got to reward yourself for achieving the goals that you accomplish. Why? Because you deserve it, right? You are your best cheerleader. If you don't cheer yourself on, you can't expect anybody else to cheer yourself on. So you got to be able to reward yourself for accomplishments that you make. And then you got to put a time limit on your goal. A lot of times what we find is people, they set goals, but they don't never put an end point. So what happens is they keep going and going and going, and they really can't measure it because there's no end point. You got to put a time limit. You know, I set goals 3, 6, 9, 12 months. I set goals 1, 3, 5, 9 years. I mean, that's the way that I set goals. And then I work backwards. How do I execute these goals that we set? Okay. Now, building block number 1. And this is a very, I'm very unapologetic about my faith. And regardless of who listens to this webinar, regardless of where your faith is, my goal is not to put a stigma on any religion or anything, but it is to say that whatever religion you are in, you got to report, if you will, to a higher power. And that's building block number 1 for me, has become faith. Now, when I talk about faith, it's a little bit different from a lot of people, because I believe that faith is just the confidence or trust in a person, a thing, a deity. That's the Webster definition of faith. But when you look at this, for me, faith is closely related to success, So that's why I define it this way. Having faith is one of the major requirements on the road to success. If you do not believe you can and will achieve what you intended to achieve, it's going to be impossible for you to do it. I can believe in each one of you participants that are on this webinar today, and I can champion you. I can make affirmations for you. I can tell people about you. But if you don't believe within yourself that you're able to accomplish the things that you want to do, you're never going to achieve it. You have to first believe in yourself. So that's why I say you put faith is closely related to success. Okay. Now, faith and belief. Now, although faith and belief, they may seem like the same thing, they somehow have a different feel, and they're totally not the same thing. When you look at this, belief seems to say, well, it's just something that I believe. That's where the religion part comes in at, right? But when you look at faith on right and wrong, while faith has something in it that you know that you're going to achieve something simply because you believe it. How many of you have ever imagined that you were going to be in a certain place at a certain time, and you did all the work necessary to get there, and guess what? It manifested itself. There you were, because you believed that you could do it. You did the steps in order to do it, and then you accomplished it. All right. So that's why I believe that faith is very, very important. Now, the direct relationship between faith and success is this. The most successful humans, in my mind, are very faith-based humans. Now, that means that it doesn't have to do necessarily with religion, but it does end up resulting that there is a discussion about faith in the secular sense, if you will. And what that simply means is you have to make sure that whatever you do, again, you believe in it and you get guidance from your higher power. Okay. Now, for me, it's God. You know, that's my higher power. And that's what I believe in. I believe in those things. And that's how I build my faith. Now, 5 reasons to have faith are these. The focus power of faith breeds abundance. Okay. The focus power of faith breeds abundance. When you believe something, I mean, really, really believe something, you'll begin to see those things manifesting and multiplying themselves as you grow as an individual. And you've heard this probably many times before. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? That's where that trial and error comes in at, because we are going to fail at something eventually, right? And it's okay. It's totally okay, because that helps you to build success, all right? Faith helps you to discover your purpose in life. What I'm doing right now is my purpose. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that my purpose here on earth is to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And that's passing I on, right? That's helping individuals to reach their full potential. It's helping them to develop the skills and the skill sets rather, to build a successful lifestyle for themselves and everyone coming behind them, okay? Faith just trumps stress, it trumps anxiety, and it trumps fear. No matter how ugly it looks, faith continues to push on, knowing that I can accomplish it. No matter how fearful I may get because something didn't go a certain way, faith helps me to stay the course and continue to see the things that are going to take place. And number 5, it acts as a pathway to finding solutions. You should be critical thinkers, right? You should always look for solutions, not problems. Whenever I hear a problem, my mind automatically triggers to find a solution to that problem. And that what makes success for people. Now, if we talk about the focus of power and faith and how it breeds abundance, and I'm just going to give you highlights on this. I want you to understand that the mind is a very incredible and powerful tool. Now, because it's so incredible and powerful, it can be used for good. And unfortunately, some people use it for bad. But when you look at this stuff and how things work in terms of the mind, it helps us to think positive about situation. Have you ever heard the saying that when you look at a glass, you can either look at that glass half empty or half full, right? It all depends on your lens. It all depends on your perspective. And so when you look at it from a state of abundance rather than a state of lack, that supersedes anything that anyone can come in to tell you otherwise. Faith is the tool basically that will help to replenish that abundance in your heart and in the spirit, not just the mind, because the mind is very powerful. Now, focus on the power of faith and how it breeds abundance. We got to train our minds. You know, we gotta. It's a thing called growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Okay, a fixed mindset would say, well, this is the way that it's always been, and it's not going to change. Fixed mindset we find a lot in cultures because this is the way that we learn. You're in India and all over the world. I'm in the United States, right? There's certain things that I have learned to do through culture that doesn't necessarily apply in another country, right? Because it's culturally based. If I have a fixed mindset, I would think that there's only one way to do it. But if I have a growth mindset, that tells me that regardless of where I am in the world, I can adapt and I can apply certain principles that will help me to achieve the things that I want to do, whether it's in India, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's in Switzerland, whatever the case may be, I can adapt because I have a growth mindset and a willingness to learn and to grow. Okay, that's the power of the abundance. Now, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Now, I can go on and even kind of take it another way in terms of faith and biblical perspectives and all, but just understand it this way. When you fail, understand that it's all part of developing you to where your predestined life is going to be. Now, what that simply means is that it's already, in my mind, predestined what you're going to be, how you're going to be how accomplished you're going to be, how successful you're going to be. But the thing about that with faith, it takes steps in order to do that. We can believe it, but if we don't do anything to help manifest that, we're really just wasting our time. Okay. Now, when we look at the faith and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, that then overlaps into your purpose and how to discover your purpose. When you go through life and all its ups and downs, sometimes it does take a toll on you, right? It burdens you down, but we got to be able to keep pushing forward. Now, here's a movie that you may have seen that I highly recommend to watch if you have not, and it's called The Book of Eli. Now, The Book of Eli starred Denzel Washington. Now, this is a very, very powerful movie in the sense of perseverance, in the sense of discovering your purpose in life. And I'll just give you a synopsis of this movie. There was a task that he had to do, and he was focused on the task so much that no matter how many distractions came his way, he kept on the course. There were things that came up that he knew that he had an obligation in as far as being a human being to help. But if he did that, it would take him off of the course of what he was trying to do. So he had to think, well, would I take time to help this one person, or would I continue on my course to help millions of people? Okay. So when you look at that way, it is so very powerful, so very powerful. Then when we look at the stress and we look at anxiety, we look at fear, wow, this is so much to be able to say about that. But I'm just going to put it this way. If we allow our minds to take rule over us, it will stop us dead in track. Because what happens is the mind is like a battleground. The mind, it talks about, it thinks about good. It thinks about evil. It thinks about right. It thinks about wrong. It thinks about all these decisions that we have to make. And it can be very overwhelming at times. So sometimes you may have heard this phrase, you got to get out your head, and that's very powerful, because if we don't get out our head, we can get buried in all of the conversations and all of the discussions and all of the things that are going on in our mind. When I was younger, I used to love cartoons. And the cartoons one of the cartoons I used to look at, they'll have a person that would have, we'll call it a devil on one shoulder. It had a red guy, horns, and a pitchfork, right? And then on the other side, it had an angel, right? So that would say that one was good, one was bad. And that person had to make a decision. So he got one person in his ear saying, you got to do good, you got to do good. Then you got the other person in the ear said, no, you got to do bad, you got to do bad. So he's at this crossroad trying to figure out, well, who I'm going to listen to? That's everyday life, right? Who are we going to listen to? And if we don't get out of our head, we'll never get anything accomplished. Then it acts lastly as a pathway to finding solution. I talked about being solution finders. No matter what the situation is, no matter how bad or how destructive it may be, your faith can and it will get you through that. Okay, you got to believe in yourself, and I can't stress that more. Yes, we have to believe in a higher power, but whatever higher power that we believe in, if we don't do anything, it's still not going to happen, right? So we got to believe in ourselves. If you really want something out of life, if you really want something out of your life, you have to dig deep down inside yourself and come up with a strong enough reason that you must absolutely achieve it. No matter what, I'm going to accomplish what I set out to do. Okay, that's building block number one. Now, building block number two, for me, it works hand in hand. You have faith, as I mentioned, and then you have favor. Now, that's the old English version or spelling of favor. I just like the way it looks, okay? But favor is different from favors. Favors, if you will, are often actions that are designed to influence, that are designed to control, unfortunately, manipulate others. And is definitely different from what I refer to as being divine favor. Have you ever had someone to ask you, hey, can you do me a favor? It's always transactional. If you do this, I'll do that. I'm not talking about that type of favor. Favor is when people out of nowhere, someone that you probably didn't even know at all, end up doing something for you. And the something that they do for you is exactly what you needed at that particular time. Now, you may have never met them before in life, never heard of them, never even thought that it could be possible, but they just popped up out of nowhere and they helped you with something, right? You may have gone to the mailbox, and someone, you needed something, you were looking at something. I've had this happen multiple times, and I needed some money or whatever. And then I go to the mailbox and guess what? There's some money from someone that I didn't even know. It came from something that maybe I did years ago, but now here it is at the exact time that I needed it. So divine favor is when God pours out his benefits on you just because he wants to, just because the things that you're doing pleases him, right? And then he ends up putting people in place to do the same thing for you. That's powerful for me. Now, you got to understand the place of favor in success. Success in life is a direct, in my mind, function of God's favor. Now, outstanding favor is what we call outstanding success. So fundamental requirements are there if you understand this school of understanding how success actually works. And then we can look at the dictionary, the definition of that as well. But when we look at this, understanding the place of favor in success, it is very paramount. Because now what happens is, if we begin to have the faith, if we begin to be open to receiving divine favor from individuals, that ends up helping us along the way. Okay, now let's look at this. Understanding the place of favor and success. Now, you may have heard of the tale of Joseph. And Joseph was a character in the Bible that was the favorite son of his father, Jacob. And he gave him a particular coat that had a lot of colors. Now, the thing about that was it signified him or made him different from all of his brothers. There is something about you that is different than all of your siblings. There's something about you that is different than from your mother, your father, from your uncles, your aunts, from your friends. There's something different about you. That is the thing that you have to find. You have to discover it, and then you have to embrace it. What Joseph was able to do was embrace that there was something different. Now, he didn't know what that was, but his father was able to identify him by giving him that coat of colors that made him different. So even though he couldn't understand it, he could see it, because now he's wearing a garment that makes him different. But what was different wasn't about the garment. It was about what was inside of him. So whatever you look like, whatever you're involved in, you're still different from the inside. And what you have to do is discover what that difference is and then begin to pull it out of yourself. That's why it's very important. Now, the 6 ways to grow in favor with both God and with man. Now, you got to live your life wholeheartedly for God. You got to make sure that you understand that he is a rewarder, if you will, to those that look and to seek after him. Perseverance during the pain of correction, it does bring long-term favor. You got to use your business, whatever it is that you want to do God's business. And then what happens is he begins to bless not only your business, but everybody that you help. You have to ask for favor from God and from man. When I pray in the morning, when I do my devotions, I ask God to allow me, one, to be able to put somebody in my path that I can talk to, that what I say to them is going to help them, that they're going to, whatever I say to them is exactly what they need in their life. Now, so when I make that declaration in the morning, I take the focus off of me and I put it on helping somebody else. So guess what happens during the course of the day? Not only do I get to help somebody else, but someone comes along and helps me as well. That's how this thing, that's how it works. And as you bless others, then you begin to reap favor from others as well. All right. Now, building block number 3, and we're going to hurry through this. This is passion. That's the beginning of all of this, right? Now, I can go into all of this and talk about passion and how that, what the definition of it is, but let me just sum it up this way. Passion is basically a way, my definition of passion is this: the ability to pass on, to duplicate everything that you have learned, whether it's through education, whether it's through hard life, whether it's through trials and tribulation, whether it was through vocation, whatever it is that you learn is not good enough to keep it all to yourself. You should want to pass it on to someone else, okay? Now, why is passion important for success? Well, I believe that it's important because, well, let me say it this way. It doesn't guarantee the success, but it can definitely increase your chances of pursuing success and to obtaining success in life. That's why it's important. Now, let's look at this. 7 reasons why you need to have passion in order to be successful in life. Passion fuels motivation. You know, because of the drive and the passion that I have, I'm motivated every day. You know, when even regardless of what stuff looks like, I know that this is my purpose. This is what I have to do. I can flip the switch, if you will, and I'm motivated myself to get things done. Passion boosts your focus or your flow state. Now, when you talk about a flow state, in my book that I wrote, I talk about used to love playing basketball, and I feel pretty good at it. But when I'm on the court, I'm just hyper focused on winning the game and whatever it takes to win the game. And I get into a whole nother zone that I'm not thinking about all the other stuff that is going on. And it's like second nature and things are just flowing. That's the part that you have to find in your life that can help you through anything that you're going. You got to find your flow state, okay? Passion allows you to be more creative. When you're passionate, you get creative, you get innovative. You think about stuff that maybe you never seen before. Now, I'll put this little side note. I don't believe that there's any new ideas, but I believe that there's ideas that have been modified and have been recreated and rebranded that become new to somebody else, right? There's still a foundation of whatever idea from somewhere. Passion makes you happier. You know, when you're living in purpose and living on purpose and you got passion going on, that makes you happier in life. Passion equips you with positive attitudes. And not only that, it brings other people that have positive attitudes and have passion around you in your circle. Passion will have you to have less stress in life because you know that there's a higher purpose. You know that you're here for a reason. You know that you're on task of what you're going to try, that what you're attempting to do. And then passion again attracts other passionate people to you, okay? It will do this. Building block number 4. Building block number 4 is very important because I alluded to it when I talked about failing. Resilience, okay? Why passion is important, or resilience rather, is important for success. Now, in psychology, resilience is an individual's tendency to cope with stress and to cope with, there's a typo there, I apologize, that should say adversity. Now, the coping may result into an individual bouncing back. Now, when I was a kid, I had a toy and it was a inflated punching bag. And that punching bag had a weight on the bottom so that no matter how hard I hit it, it will fall down, but guess what? It will bounce back because of the weight. And so that's how life is sometimes. Sometimes we get hit and knocked down so hard, but we got to have resilience so that we can bounce back. And once we bounce back, we continue on the road to success, okay? Now, let's look at this because I want to go through this. And all of these, I would definitely send this PowerPoint. You can have this PowerPoint. I'll make sure that you have access to it. So don't feel that as I'm going through it, because we are on a time limit, that you're missing something. I'm giving you a high overview of what this is, but you will have access to the PowerPoint. Now, resilience is the fundamental building blocks of success. Now, when we look at this, I see it this way. The real skill, such as the main building blocks of success, is getting back on track again after you experience difficulties, right? After you experience losses, after you make up in your mind that you're not going to give up. Instead of bouncing back into the original, what happens is you get stronger. And when you bounce back, you're better than you ever were before. Why? Because you learned something, right? You acquired a degree of wisdom when it happened. Trial and error is all about experience, okay? Or experience rather is all about trial and error. Now, once you do that, that sets you aside from the average person. Now, this is why. 10 ways to become resilient. Now, see if you can find yourself in any of this. Understand that setbacks are part of life. Remember I talked about fixed mindset, growth mindset? These are attributes of a growth mindset. Hey, it's a part of life. It happens, right? I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm going to keep it moving, okay? Be aware of yourself. Now, notice I'd say be aware, not beware, okay? Be aware of yourself and the environment that you're in. If you're going to be around negative people, you're not going to be successful. That's a fact, because negativity breeds negativity, and you need positivity in order to be successful. Number three, believe and know that you are the one in control. It's your vision, it's your dream. You have all the tools that you need, and now you have to structure that in a way that you can navigate through life's disappointments. Okay, become a solution thinker. We talked about that before. Believe in yourself. We talked about that before. Okay, then you have to make sure that you set goals and define and manage milestones. Remember I said that I do 1 year, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. I do 1, 3, 5, 9 years. These are goals that I set, and I have milestones, victories, and successes that I cheer myself on once I make them. Okay, you got to stay optimistic. All right, you got to make sure that you're brave. And here's the thing, don't be afraid to ask people for help. Don't be afraid to ask people for help, because it's been said that experience is the best teacher. But what I've learned, that is very true, but it doesn't necessarily have to be my experience. I can learn something from someone else's experience. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And here's the thing, I put in here, take it easy, but that just simply means breathe. When we were growing up as kids, we got angry or something, somebody took the ball from us, or or somebody hit us or something, and we were like, you got to count to 10. All right, it's the same thing. Take it easy, breathe, learn to be proactive rather than be reactive. Very important. And then lastly, nurture yourself. You got to take care of yourself, because after you obtain success, what good is it if you can't enjoy it? Because you don't beat yourself up, you don't work yourself to death, if you will. Take care of yourself. Life, what they call it, work-life balance. Okay. Now, building block number 5. We're almost through here. All right. Rejuvenation. Rejuvenation. Now, this comes from the root word juvenile. Juveniles are young children who act and play without any cares. I'm excited because we just had a grandchild, and he is awesome. He's just awesome, and I believe that everyone that he's impacting, our life now is rejuvenated. My daughter would send us pictures of him just sleeping, and just taking it easy, and I'm like, he don't have a care in the world. He has got it made. He don't have to worry about anything. That's where this word rejuvenate comes from. Children take chances as they get older, and they don't have the fears or the understanding of the fears of the world. That's why when we see a child, when they go to a hot stove, we tell them, no, that's hot, because they don't know. They don't have a clue. And that's the meaning of rejuvenation. It becomes the adult's job to be able to assist them and to teach them these things. All right. So when you rejuvenate, what fears have been implanted into your business, in order to rejuvenate your company or your business or even your life, you got to find new ways of doing things and how they work. In order to keep your life fresh, in order to keep your company fresh, you have to make sure that you stay on top of things. When we look at sales techniques, I often refer back to Microsoft and to Apple, and how that they keep advancing their business all the time. Most of you may have an iPhone. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock, there's another update. I get so many updates on my iPhone, it's really ridiculous, but they're keeping it fresh. They're always getting better. That's how you have to do your life. Find out what you're going to do to make yourself better. Personal development. All right. Now let's look at this. Focus is everything. Focus on what you want. And if you do that, look and try to see what that looks like in your life. It may be simplifying your business. It may be going to get a degree. It may be enhancing the degree that you have. It may be starting a business. Whatever it is, focus on that thing. You can weed it out. You can delegate. You can eliminate all the other activities that don't contribute to your goal. I'm in my office and I'm looking at my matrix that I have over here, and I have 4 categories. One says what the things I'm going to do first. The other one talks about what things I'm going to delegate. Then it talks about what things are not important. And then it talks about what things that I don't even need to do. Now, when I start looking at those, my life gets a whole lot easier during the day, because so many times we want to do stuff that we don't even need to do, or we want to do stuff that we probably could have delegated to somebody else to do because our time is very valuable. All right. Now, let me give you these 7 ideas to rejuvenate your business. And I want to do a time check. All right, I'm going to wrap it up in about 3 minutes, and then I open up for questions. 7 ideas to rejuvenate your business. All right. Or even your life. Consider a rebrand. Consider the internet. Conquer the internet rather. Add extra services to your business. Open a second premise. There's a typo. Make your brand trendy. Why do people want to do or listen to you? Okay. Keep an eye on your competitors. There's someone always going to be trying to mirror what you do. I gave you an example of Apple and Android. I'll leave that like that. All right. Then lastly, export your products to a new market. Now, I'm going to run through building block 6 because I said that I will send you this PowerPoint, okay? But I just wanted to talk about a couple things on this rebranding concept. And that will be right here. Types of rebranding is partial rebranding, total rebrand. You can redefine your target audience and your market. You can rethink your vision, your mission, and your values. You can reconsider your name of the company if you may have to change it. You can revise your brand slogan, and then you can reestablish your brand identity. Lastly, the building blocks of success, which is only, I think, 1 slide, and that is success. That is the 7th building block, is success. Now, here's the thing. Success takes hard work. It takes perseverance. It takes planning. And once you figure it out, what's important to you, start drawing up a plan. We have 2 daughters, and we've taught them that you always need a plan. Regardless of what you're doing, you should always have a plan, okay? And that will give you the success that you're looking for. Create something of real value, improve the lives of others, be authentic and transparent, focus on positivity, and lastly, follow the 80-20 rule. And that rule is saying that you're going to have 80% of one thing, but the 20% is really where all the grit work is and where the hard work is. All right. Any questions? Any questions? I know I dumped a lot on you, and I will share this PowerPoint with you, but are there any questions?
Thank you so much, sir. If anyone has any questions, can directly ask or put in the chat.
Okay, on the chat.
Yes. So, sir, Avya is asking, how can we set our mind to get success in a difficult task?
Great question. So I would say the first thing would be to understand that when difficulties come, look at it. Remember, I gave you the example of the half full, half empty. If a difficult task comes, our mind is conditioned to go to the negative. The first thing that we say as little kids when we're growing up, when something is hard, is I can't. That's the first phrase that we come up with. But because we say we can't, because we don't understand that we have the ability within ourselves that we can. So when you have a difficult task, break it down into bite-sized pieces. You don't have to attack it all at one time. Chop it up. Take one thing at a time. Set a goal. Set time limits on that. Understand that you actually can accomplish the things that you're trying to do, even though how it's difficult. It doesn't matter how difficult it is, you can achieve it, but you got to break it down. When you look at something that is so grand, it does look impossible. There's a thing that says, which I don't understand, don't want to offend anybody, but it's an additive that says, how do you eat an elephant? Well, first of all, I don't know why I would eat an elephant, but it says, how would you eat an elephant? And they say 1 bite at a time. And that's basically saying that if it's big, don't look at how big it is, just take 1 bite at a time.
Thank you so much, sir. Anyone else with questions, please can ask now. Okay, so sir,
Yes.
I think there are no many questions. So
Okay.
on the behalf of Order and all the members present here, I would like to thank you, Dr. Shawn M Nicholson, for sharing his wisdom through his insightful session. Thank you, sir. Once again, it was a pleasure to having you here, and we will look forward to having many such insightful sessions in the future with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. There's a QR code there. So that's all my contact information. You can take your phones and snap it, and you'll be able to get in touch with me through email, through WhatsApp, whatever the case may be. Thank you for having me. This has been definitely a great joy. I will send you the PowerPoint so that you can disseminate it to everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a
Okay.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.